play.
I think we put the pressure on ourselves. We want to go out there. We're expecting to win now. I mean, we started out like this. Now we want to finish the season like this. I know we got 4 months left, but we want to go out there knowing that we're going to win every day.
And winning indeed. They are riding high. The Expos very high, but they've done that before. In '94, they had the league's highest winning percentage before plummeting last year. You know, Felipe Alou, I think, makes it all happen. They pick up a Henry Rodriquez. They'll great young players who nobody's heard of, then they get famous, and then they're gone because, again, the payroll stays so low.
Basically a farm system for everybody else.
Yeah, time now for our prime performance. And what a day for the class of '96 at Montclair State University.
And that was good stuff. Ninth inning, Twins down 4-2. Minor comeback. Charlie Carr gets on his bicycle. Look at him go. He gets, oh, man, what a great play to rob Chip Hale. Steve Sparks, the knuckler, was working on him, but Rich Robertson was tagged with 3 unearned runs in the second and falls to 0-7 despite striking out 10. Ouch. Molitor was 3 for 4. He's hitting .343. More on him later.
Like right now. Minnesota's Paul Molitor often reminisces about holding his parents' hands on the way to Twins games. And come August 22nd, his birthday was always celebrated as a Twins game. This year will be an extra special bash there. Molly will be in a real Twins uniform, celebrating before thousands at the Metrodome, facing, ironically enough, the Toronto Blue Jays, the team he helped to his first World Championship. Rick Weinberg has more.
Paul Molitor grew up idolizing the Minnesota Twins, and now he has become one. After 14 years in Milwaukee and 3 in Toronto that included a memorable World Series championship, Molitor has come home to pull down the curtain on his Hall of Fame career.
They don't have a hit this inning. Molitor drives it to left. It's way back there, and it's a 3-run blast into the upper deck.
At the age of 39, Molitor has been rejuvenated in the Twin Cities, once again sitting among the league leaders in hitting.
It definitely has been a very positive start. I tried not to have too many expectations about how it would be. I was just trying to let it unfold. But to come back and be in my hometown where a lot of family and friends still live, and you know, being a part of the Twins organization, an organization I followed as a kid.
Molitor could have easily finished his Hall of Fame career in Milwaukee, where it all began. But he always had dreams of playing in his hometown. And he does admit it does have a nice storybook ring to it.
Watching Harmon Killebrew and Bob Allison and Tony Oliva as a kid wearing Twins uniform, to go out wearing that same uniform, it's just going to be a nice way to put it all to an end.
Molitor's presence, his leadership and professionalism has had a huge impact on the Twins, who happen to be tearing up American League pitching. And without Kirby Puckett in the lineup because of an eye ailment, Molitor's direction has been that much more important.
I wish he could pitch, you know, but again, Paul's a quality hitter. We all know that. For 19 years he's been a quality hitter in the game and a professional hitter, and he just adds a lot of substance to the lineup.
I mean, I've waited all my career, man, to play with a guy like Paul Molitor. I got to play with Dave Winfield, you know, and that was a dream of mine. I got to play with Paul Molitor. I watch him hit every day. I don't miss any at-bat that he has, man. I love watching him hit so much. So for me, it's still an opportunity for me to sit and watch one of the best.
In a career packed with special moments, one of the most precious will occur next season when Molitor becomes the 20th player in history to collect 3,000 hits.
When it does happen, if it happens, I'm going to welcome that opportunity. But, you know, this game is very humbling, and as we've seen in the Kirby situation, you never know from day to day what's going to happen. So concentrate on the day. When that day comes, if it comes, I'll be ready to enjoy it.
Crack of the bat. Molly's had millions of those. Add in today's homer, and the Twins' DH needs just 154 more hits to crack the coveted 3,000 hit mark. He's also second among active players, trailing only Cleveland's Eddie Murray. If he can hang around another season or two, he should hit 3,000 easily.
Oh, yeah, he's headed for the Hall of Fame. What did I say? 343 he's hitting.
Yeah.
Slowing down.
Yeah. Ooh, boy, he's getting old.
Did you know that the NHL also had a draft lottery today? Well, they did. We'll run that down in a minute.
Speaking of running, the F1 guys were running around Monaco today. Hopefully your Sunday drive was less bumpy than this thing.
While Greg Maddux of the Braves struggles for the first time in years, Juan Guzman of the Blue Jays is thriving for the first time in years. The connection to both pitchers' performances is Charlie O'Brien, who court Maddox the last 2 seasons in Atlanta and is now with Guzman after signing as a free agent with Toronto. Greg Maddox's earned run average the last 2 seasons was 1.60 while pitching mostly to O'Brien. This season, his ERA has doubled. Guzman, on the other hand, is back among the league leaders in wins and strikeouts, and he says O'Brien is one of the primary reasons why. Cecil Fielder of the Tigers is irate that management has not provided him with adequate protection in the lineup, and he predicts that he will be pitched around all season. Fielder is considered by scouts to be a tremendous hitter because of his knowledge and bat control, not just his power. But he fears he'll continue swinging at too many bad pitches unless Mel Nieves, the man hitting behind Fielder most often, begins making pitchers pay. Pat Riley's latest brainstorm in his never-ending quest to turn the Heat into title contenders is moving Alonzo Mourning to power forward and signing free agent center Dikembe Mutombo. Riley initially had a point guard at the top of his free agent list, but since he's happy with Tim Hardaway, Riley has reworked his blueprint of the future. Mourning and Mutombo are close. Both attended Georgetown. Both are represented by agent David Falk, and Mourning loves the sound of the Zoe and Mo show. The momentum to force Marge's shot to give up controlling interest of the Reds continues to build. Several Major League owners have spoken by conference call the last 2 weeks to discuss ways they could oust the Reds' boss. Owners are upset that acting commissioner Bud Selig has not issued any statement saying some form of disciplinary action will be taken against Schott. But Selig is in the process of building an even stronger case against her, based in part on information from this week's article in Sports Illustrated. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next time with the Press Box Insider.
The thought by him. 5-2, Houston. They're still on top. Moving on to the Cards and the Marlins, red hot.
And Bell still isn't swell. Those are just 2 of the topics touched on by Rick Weinberg in this week's edition of the Press Box Insider.
David Justice's shoulder injury has killed any chance the Braves had of trading him this offseason. Management had planned to shop Justice to open up a spot for hot prospects Jermaine Dye or Andrew Jones, then use Justice's $6.5 million salary toward re-signing John Smoltz, a potential free agent like fellow starter Steve Avery. Now that Justice is untradeable, management doubts it'll have the money to re-sign both pitchers, contrary to published reports. One club executive says the Braves will zero in on Smoltz because they're convinced Avery will sign elsewhere after losing a bitter arbitration case over the winter. Albert Bell says he is through causing trouble. Last year's Major League home run leader was shaken up by the league's demand that he seek counseling for his personality problems or risk being suspended. Bell is batting over .350 and is on pace to hit 67 homers and knock in 178 runs. And he doesn't want his bid for a record spoiled by a suspension. Bell told me he now knows the league will not stand for any more guff, and he promises to change because he's tired of his antics overshadowing his and his teammates' brilliant accomplishments. Astros manager Terry Collins is ready to pull the hair out of his head. He is convinced the Astros would be running away with the NL Central if not for his beleaguered bullpen and the team's inability to drive in runners. Not only did Houston's bullpen lead the league in blown saves and losses at the start of the week, but the club has left more runners on base than any NL team. But the Astros are still the most feared club in the NL Central, according to a scout, and they could easily blow away the division once second baseman Craig Biggio heats up. If you happen to see a lot of NBA Rookie of the Year Damon Stoudemire during the remainder of the playoffs, it's because he was ordered to attend by Raptors GM Isaiah Thomas. Thomas has placed the Raptors' future in Stoudemire's hands, and he wants his protege to become more familiar with the difference in style and intensity between the regular season and playoffs. He also wants Stoudemire to see firsthand what it takes to win a championship. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next time with the Press Box Insider.
Thanks, Slick Rick. For tonight's prime performance, we go back to Seattle. Yankees second baseman Mariano Duncan having some problems defensively. He bobbles the backhander off the bat of Darren Bragg. Maybe he should have taken some pointers from Seattle's lovely ball girl, Lindsey Ferris. Off Junior's back, the backhander. Oh. She makes
is tired of being intentionally walked. Well, he's got 16 home runs. Maybe not such a bad idea, but that loaded the bases for Jeff Conine, a base hit. 2-run score. Terry Pendleton, a roller back up the gap. Sheffield scores. Craig Graybeck, another back up the box. Conine comes in. John Smiley gives up 5 hits, 4 runs in the first. And that would about do it. The Marlins win easily, 6-2. That makes it 3 of 4 on the year so far. The Marlins over the Reds. Al Leiter gets his first win since his no-hitter May 11th, giving up only 3 hits in 8 innings.
The Montreal Expos are challenging the Atlanta Braves for the top spot in the NL East. One of the reasons why? Henry Rodriguez. Henry was acquired from the Dodgers last year, but only played 9 games due to a broken shin. So this season was supposed to be Henry Rodriguez's comeback campaign. Instead, it's his coming out party. Rick Weinberg has the story.
After being traded by the Los Angeles Dodgers, Henry Rodriguez is a star for the Montreal Expos. For the first time in his career, Rodriguez is playing every day and putting up big-time numbers. Prior to this season, Henry had 21 home runs in 766 career at-bats. This year, Rodriguez already has career highs in home runs, RBIs, and runs scored. And we're not even in June yet.
Right now, I'm just having fun out there. But the most important thing is that I got the opportunity to play. That's what I always wanted. I'm getting my chance now. I've been working for this all my career, and I'm gonna go hard and hard every day.
The Dodgers needed an everyday outfielder last May and opted to trade Rodriguez for Roberto Kelly. It seemed like an okay trade at the time, but Kelly was not re-signed. Instead, Kelly is now a Twin, and the Dodgers are still looking for an everyday left fielder.
We felt that we had the younger guys to take Henry's place, but I'm happy to see him do so well. Henry wore the Dodger uniform at all times with pride, dignity, and character, and I'm very, very proud of him.
On the day Henry was traded to the Expos, he broke down and cried. He felt like a failure. But on the plane ride to Montreal, he vowed to alter his career to prove that he would become a valuable everyday player.
That's what I always wanted, to contribute, to help somebody win, to be part of the team, to be on the field playing every day, to be a competitor out there.
Rodriguez entered this season in a platoon role, but you can't keep a hot bat out of the lineup. He's been so hot that he even hit a home run while calling time and stepping out of the box. And with success comes popularity, lots of it. Rodriguez has become such a cult figure in Montreal that fans have been showering him in appreciation with O. Henry candy bars.
I remember they hit Derek there with the candy bar, and he picked it up and ate it, you know, and I was laughing out there. Then somebody picked one up and gave it to me. That's your fault. And no, not my fault. They're just having fun out there. I was shocked.
Every player in sports who isn't a starter always says it, I just need a chance to play. But looking at Henry's numbers, you can see he's the player he always said he could be.
Now it's time for our prime performance. Those are certainly some prime numbers for Henry Rodriguez, but let's go to College Park, Maryland. Princeton versus Virginia for the NCAA Lacrosse Championship.
Baroa. That's a solo shot that broke a 2-2 tie. Ace scored 4 in the inning, and they go on to win it 6-2. That snaps 4 sets. He pulls it out in set number 4.
Everything that could go right went right for the Boston Red Sox last season when they stunned the baseball world by winning the American League East. This season, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for this intriguing yet seemingly cursed franchise that has gone 78 years without winning a World Series. Usually, the Red Sox save their collapse for September or October, but this season they came out of the gate losing 18 of their first 21 games, the worst start in the 95-year history of the franchise.
Quite frankly, we just started the season playing bad in all aspects of the game. We weren't pitching well. Defense was atrocious, and we weren't swinging the bats. A year ago, when we won a division, we would coast along and ride good pitching for a while. We would ride good hitting. You know, some of those things will cover up mistakes. When they scored 7, we'd score 9. This year, that wasn't the case.
It was worse than a nightmare. It was just total shock. Exactly right, because no areas of our game were performing well at all. So you're kind of trying to, it's like a boat with a lot of holes in it. You're putting, you know, fingers in the dike, and all of a sudden another one springs up.
The fact the Red Sox were on pace to set major league records in errors and walks is one thing, but a series of nightmarish occurrences ensued that left the team numb. Kevin Mitchell pulls a hamstring his first day in the outfield. Mike Stanton was forced to take over as closer because of Heathcliff Slocum's ineffectiveness, but Stanton is far from the answer. Starter Tom Gordon was yanked in the 4th inning of a game with a 10-5 lead, depriving him of a victory and causing a rift between him and Kennedy. But the Red Sox have somehow found a way to slowly climb back to respectability.
They can't take what we did last year away. We just have to do it again and again and again. And that's what the so-called pressure is of the game, is you have to repeat. Because once you're on top, the expectations are always high, and I expect that of myself, and we'll get it done.
The Red Sox defense will continue to be atrocious, which may take its toll on the pitching staff. But when this team begins to hit, look out. It'll light up the scoreboard like no other team in recent history.
We have to have that killer instinct, and within the last 3 weeks to a month, the hitters have started to get that killer instinct, and we've been able to bounce back and throw some wins up because of it.
George Steinbrenner offered, not to mention this accomplishment 2 weeks ago.
Lifted in the air, in the infield. Derek Jeter waiting, makes the catch. A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden.
The sight of Dwight Gooden being carried off the field after his no-hitter against the Mariners has now become part of the storied history of Yankee Stadium. On May 14th, Gooden pulled off the improbable after missing the entire '95 season because of a suspension for repeated violations of baseball substance abuse policy. But somehow, he has battled back, and he is just starting to come back to reality.
It's been tough to sleep. Actually, things are calming down a little bit now, but I know the night up, the no-hitter, that last Tuesday, the next morning I had to fly to Florida for my father's surgery, and then it was just a lot of interviews and stuff like that going on, but at least it's in a positive way. And just, I think it's good, the youth, you can see that I made it back, and that if you do the right things with your life, and if you have a fall, that you can get back on track and do well.
1 year ago, Gooden was in Tampa, Florida, coaching Little League Baseball. Today, he has chiseled his name in the record books of baseball's most fabled franchise, having made a stirring comeback that nobody thought was possible.
It was at a time like a year and a half ago. I didn't know if I even get the opportunity to wear a big league uniform again, and then to accomplish that and have some things happen to me very well so quickly is definitely a blessing.
After getting off to an 0-3 start and losing his job in the starting rotation, Gooden's baseball future looked bleak. But old friend and Yankees pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre came to the rescue. Stottlemyre adjusted Gooden's delivery, helping the Doc save his career and put him back in the baseball limelight.
Well, the biggest thing I was after was for him to get some consistency with the release point, and to do that, we just shortened his arm swing on the way back. And he may have at first thought like he was short-arming the ball because he wasn't going back quite as far with his arm, and especially his lead hand. And so it very easily he was able to get on top of the ball, and he made the adjustment fairly quick.
So we had more confidence in Doc than Doc had in himself, and it was evidenced by the way he started the season. Really struggled. Had no trouble getting the 2 strikes, but really had trouble putting people away. Put him in the bullpen and enabled Mel to work with him to abbreviate his windup a little bit, which has really helped him hit his spots and be a little more consistent.
I think the difference now is just being focused, enjoying the game a lot more now. Not saying I didn't enjoy it in the past, but just enjoying it, knowing that I can go out there and have fun and not worry about so much of the stats or getting 10 strikeouts or trying to pitch a shot. Just going out there that day and just giving all I have.
Keep it going, Doc.
Certainly like to see that. Break time in the box, but coming up, we'll make a trip to the country club for a little golf and a little tennis.
Which leads us to our trivia. We plan it that way.
Yeah.
Right to trivia. How many French Open finals has Michael...
Speaking of the dynamic duo, Lemieux and Yager posted impressive numbers in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They've been held in check by the Panthers' defense in this series. They'll have to step it up a notch on Saturday if they hope to advance.
All right, in the NBA, another coaching vacancy was filled today when the Dallas Mavericks named Bulls assistant Jim Clemens as their new head coach, replacing Dick Motta. Clemens has been in Chicago for 7 seasons and was part of 3 championship teams, and of course possibly a 4th. And the question is, will he be the Zen master of the Southwest now? Our master of the outer reaches is press box insider Rick Weinberg, and he begins his report with more from the NBA.
When Orlando Magic executives emerged from meetings this week following the team's embarrassing performance in the Eastern Conference Finals, their comments were strictly public relations driven. But the Magic's management team was livid with everything from Shaquille O'Neal's lack of aggression in going to the hole and Penny Hardaway's tendency to veer away from plays to Dennis Scott's pathetic shooting. Team officials are petrified to criticize O'Neal, who is eligible for free agency July 1st and is expected to receive a blockbuster offer from Lakers owner Jerry Buss. But Orlando's meeting stressed the importance of patience and stability, and more than one official pointed out that it took the Bulls several years of frustration to break through as NBA champions. Can you imagine the Indians lineup with Cecil Fielder tucked in between Albert Bell and Jim Thome? Well, it's a distinct possibility that could become reality this season. The Indians, always looking ahead, may not re-sign Bell, who's already turned down a 5-year, $38 million offer that has since been pulled off the table. So the Indians and Tigers have talked about Fielder, whose $7.2 million salary this season and in '97 is too much for Detroit to handle. One Tigers official says the organization is willing to accept a pitching prospect and a marginal player for Fielder just to dump his salary. Padres right-hander Scott Sanders has been drawing a huge amount of attention lately from contenders desperate for starting pitching. The Angels and Orioles are among a handful of clubs who have inquired about Sanders, a starter last season who hasn't cracked the rotation this season despite an ERA of just over 2.80. Padres GM Kevin Towers reportedly believes San Diego can get by without Sanders and with Fernando Valenzuela as his 5th starter. One pitching coach says that kind of philosophy can kill the Padres' playoff chances and that you can't have enough pitching. All you have to do is look at the Yankees, who are stacked with pitching, then lost David Cohn and Jimmy Key, forcing GM Bob Watson to inquire about Pete Sherrick of the Reds and Kevin Apier of the Royals. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next time with the Press Box Insider.
One other hockey note, Red Wings center Chris Draper underwent successful surgery today on his fractured jaw, which means he can forget the solid foods for a while, break out the blender. His jaw will be wired shut for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, and Claude Lemieux ought to be maybe in jail for 2 to 3 weeks for that cheap shot. And on that bright note...
Deep, rich, luscious color can only have one source. Eagle One Wet Car Polish. For the hottest looking ride on the road, get wet. When it comes to taking care of beautiful wheels, there's only one brand exclusively recommended by the world's leading wheel manufacturers. Eagle One, quality for those who...
It takes so little to save our rivers and oceans for future generations. If we use less toxic household cleaners, we protect a little. Fewer lawn care chemicals, a little more. And recycling used motor oil gains us so much. In fact, there are many things we can do in our everyday lives that can help stop water pollution forever. Clean water, if we all do a little, we can do a lot. Brought to you by the Natural Resources Defense Council and the Ad Councils of the U.S. and Japan.
You can't beat it out here. The sun, the sand.
And we got trucks. If you can keep the beach safe, you're a good lifeguard.
Physical training is certainly important.
Shoot, I'm a great swimmer.
But you need to have good equipment as well.
Yeah, Ford Rangers.
One of the best pieces of equipment we have.
I like working with the most handsome men in the world.
I really love the Ford Ranger.
They look good. They make us look good.
But right now, I gotta watch the water.
These Ford Rangers come in, they get me there quicker than anything else.
They're really cool.
Welcome back to the Press Box, and in case you're just joining us and have no idea who won tonight's NBA game in Chicago, well, there's a clue. Yep, big night for Scotty, big night for Michael, big night for everybody. Pippen had 21, Jordan had 29, and Larry Burnett has more from the United Center.
George Carr wants a timeout.
I'll tell you what, before we go to Larry, let's wrap this all up for you. Bulls win it 92-88. Sonics played them tough, but not tough enough. Rodman, big night for Dennis. He had 20 rebounds. In fact, he tied an NBA Finals record with 11 offensive rebounds, tying the record held by Elvin Hayes. 4-point win for the Bulls. They now head for Seattle. They're now up 2-0 in the series. We'll see if the Sonics can at least salvage a couple games in this series. So much going on tonight, but it just wouldn't be complete without getting the inside stuff from Rick Weinberg. He's our Press Box Insider.
While the Indians are being forced to deal with distractions involving Albert Bell and Julian Tavares, as well as the confounding slumps of Eddie Murray and Oral Hershiser, the White Sox are laughing all the way to the ballpark. Chicago shortstop Ozzie Guillen says the Indians bragged about winning a record 112 games, but all they're doing is tarnishing their image and building Chicago's confidence. Chicago is running neck and neck with the Tribe, and the Sox are playing with such zeal and detest the Indians so much that they're convinced they're going to shock Cleveland and win the AL Central. Rangers outfielder Juan Gonzalez is finally back in the lineup after being on the disabled list with a torn leg muscle. But club officials are not happy it took him so long and are again questioning his dedication. One club official is hoping catcher Ivan Rodriguez's tolerance of pain will rub off on Gonzalez. Rodriguez suffered a badly bruised wrist this week, but was back in the lineup the next day, something that probably wouldn't have occurred if Gonzalez had sustained the same injury. With Marge Schott's penny-pinching accounting methods, the Reds do not celebrate their glorious past with banners at Riverfront Stadium honoring their Hall of Famers. But the Reds just dipped into their past by getting one of those Hall of Famers, Johnny Bench, to work with Ed Taubensee, who had one of baseball's best arms, but nailed just 4 of the first 48 runners attempting to steal on him. Rockies manager Don Baylor told me no one used to run on the Reds receiver, but now no one hesitates. When forward Sharif Abdur-Rahim decided to remain at Cal instead of jumping to the NBA, he completely altered Raptors GM Isaiah Thomas's draft plans. Thomas was considering giving the Timberwolves his number 2 pick for J.R. Rider and the Wolves' number 5 overall pick, where Thomas was sure he could grab Cal's 6'10 forward. But now Thomas plans to stay at number 2 and draft 6'11 Marcus Camby of UMass. Isaiah has only one concern about Camby, and it's not his taste in jewelry. Isaiah feels it's imperative that Camby add more muscle so he can bang inside better with the league's big boys. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next time with the Press Box Insider.
For tonight's prime performance, we go back to rainy Wrigley Field, where you just knew Harry Carey was going to have trouble with Montreal shortstop Mark Grudzielanik's last name.
Mark Grudzielanik. Grudzielanik. Ooh, whoopie-doo. Grudzielanik. Grudzielanik. Spelled backward, I can pronounce it easier. Kenneleisterg. See that? Ooh, whoopie-doo.
Woo! Well, no matter how you say it, it's classic Harry, and he...
Top of 3, 1 on. Jays up by 2, and Tino Martinez jumps all over this Paul Quantrill pitch off the facade and right. The game's tied at 3. Top of 4, the Yankees will score twice, including Wade Boggs' opposite field single, scoring Andy Fox from second. That's the eventual game winner. Yankees go on to win 6-4. Pettit becomes the second 10-game winner in the American League. And Boggs continues to pound at the plate. He went 2 for 4 and is currently batting .359.
Boggs has always been one of the best hitters around. In his 14 seasons with the Red Sox and Yankees, he's hit below 300 only once, and this season looks to be more the same. But it's Boggs' emergence as a leader that has helped his first-place team just as much as his reliable bat. Here's Rick Weinberg with more.
Now that Don Mattingly is no longer a New York Yankee after retiring last season, the player who emerged as the symbol of the pinstripes is not David Cone or Paul O'Neill. Rather, former Boston Red Sox Wade Boggs has become Mr. Yankee.
Well, it's starting to feel like that. I didn't really want to feel like that because Donnie was around, and now that Donnie's left and his memories are still here, as far as seniority around here, I think Jim Lawrence is the only guy that's been with the Yankees longer than I have. So it was a stepping stone in my career that I moved on to a new direction and have really enjoyed it in New York for 4 years.
I kidded with him. I said when I was growing up, I had his bubblegum card. But Boggsy is a true professional. He's a hitter, a pure hitter. He's just a professional. He's a purist. He hates to take bad batting practice, and I really get disappointed when he doesn't get a hit. That's how spoiled he gets me.
After Boggs hit .259 in 1992, the Red Sox felt they could let him go, especially since they had a hot young prospect, Scott Cooper, ready to crack the lineup. Since Boggs has left Boston, he has hit .302, .342, and a team-leading .324 last season. And Cooper, well, the Red Sox traded him to the Cardinals, and now he's been exiled to Japan.
It was a situation that the Red Sox didn't need my services anymore. They had Scott Cooper, and it was time for me to move on. They didn't offer me a contract, so it was a decision that I made to stay in the American League, and it was the decision that I had to eventually go to the other side of the street, which was New York. So to be hated in New York for so long and now being liked there, it's a good feeling.
Sometime in 1998, Boggs will join the exclusive 3,000 hit club, which currently has just 20 members. That makes him a surefire Hall of Famer. The question is, what uniform will Boggs wear into the Hall of Fame? Red Sox or Yankees?
It's the question on everyone's tongue. We'll have to find out later.
I think there was a guy named Ruth who also went from Boston to New York. In any case, here's a look at the career hit leaders among active players. Eddie Murray leads the pack with 3,131. He's followed by Paul Molitor, Andre Dawson, and there's the Chicken Man in 4th place.
Give me a beer. Well, let's see. We got Sycamore Smith Ale, Pale Ale Dark, Pale Ale Light, Wapner's Lager, Wapner's Wheat, Honey Wheat, Light Wheat, Weedy Wheat, Hamburg Light, Dark, Amber Light.
Just give me a Coors.
Since 1873, original Coors, pure and simple.
Why'd you come back?
Passion. Aggression. Cool. Confident. Serene. You don't possess just one emotion. Neither should your car. The LS400, the finest automobile in the world.
Rich, luscious color can only have one source. Eagle One Wet Car Polish. For the hottest looking ride on the road, get wet. When it comes to taking care of beautiful wheels, there's only one brand exclusively recommended by the world's leading wheel manufacturers. Eagle One, quality for those who care.
When you're sick or injured and can't work, you still want to be able to handle things major medical doesn't for whatever comes up. Life's got to go on. Aflac can help. Use Aflac benefits to fill the gaps other insurance doesn't cover. You decide exactly how to use it best. Then concentrate on what's really important. Just get better.
Give dreams that may have died the power to live. Support the College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Tonight makes 83, but it was last night's sellout crowd that was treated to the Rockies' first ever shutout at Coors Field and just the 3rd home shutout in club history. Tonight they were treated to rain, which delayed the start of Game 1 against the Phillies. But the sun shone brightly on John Vanderwall tonight. Bottom of the 1st, Vanderwall strokes Curt Schilling's pitch into the right field seats. 2-0 Rockies. You never see a home run at Coors Field. And Brian Ricard was keeping the Phillies at bay with solid defense from Eric Young, who goes deep in the hole for the stop. And he throws out Mark Whitten. And the Rockies beat the Phillies 4-1. Philadelphia suffered its 7th loss in its last 8 games. The Mets over the Cardinals. Todd Hundley and Jeff Kent hit back-to-back home runs in the 7th to break a scoreless tie. The Giants all over the Astros 12-8. Barry Bonds went 4 for 5 and hit his first home run since May 11th. More on him in our prime performance. And the Marlins beat the Pirates 4-3, snapping a 5-game win streak for the Pirates.
Well, the Texas Rangers would have the AL West wrapped up already if they could play every game at home, where they are 27-10 this season. However, they're on the road where they have a less than 500 mark. Red Sox sending out Roger Clemens, who has only 3 wins this year, looking for his first win in 4 starts. Top of the 6th, Rangers up 2-1, 2-on, 2-out, and Clemens gets Warren Newsom. Clemens had it going. 9 Ks in 8 innings. Bottom of the 10th, Red Sox trail 7-6. John Valentin. Uh-oh. We're tied at 7. Then Alex Delgado, line shot to left, scoring Mo Vaughn. Here they come. Red Sox win it in 10. First 3-game win streak since May 14th through the 17th for the Boston Red Sox. Clemens had a great outing with 9 strikeouts, allowing only 4 runs. Other action, boy, the Brewers put a hurting on them. They got 6 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. For all 16 runs. Jaha, 2 solo home runs. Wojo got lit. He gave up 9 runs in 4 2/3.
Next up, if you don't know much about the Angels' Rex Hudler, what better time to learn? He's been a big part of the Halos lineup this season. His story when we return.
Uniglobe Travel invites you to discover the lost horizons of Mexico. 8 incredible beach resorts and endless adventures. Book by June 30th and receive up to 2 free nights and room upgrades. Call Uniglobe at 1-800-999-8000.
Oh. January, you go blind. March, you can see, but you can't hold your child. December, your hands are working, so you pray. MS randomly attacks your nervous system. Help us find the answer.
For brilliant, deep, glowing color, get wet. To keep it wet, use Eagle One Wet Car Wash and Wipe and Shine.
House windows are easy to clean, but when it comes to your car, dirt, birds, bugs, and road grime can really muddy the picture. That's why you need Eagle One 2020 Auto Glass Cleaner. Perfect vision for your car.
This is my town.
There ain't nothing like this place in Texas.
Great rooms. This is the most famous strip of highway in the world. Beautiful, isn't it? This town is a fantasy.
Hi, you want to get married?
Actually, I was just here for a burger and fries. There's only one city like it. Las Vegas.
Introducing a very special automobile. Being built in limited numbers doesn't make it special, nor the fact it's available for a limited time. Even adding air conditioning, automatic transmission, and AM/FM stereo isn't that unusual. But when all this describes a Honda Accord at $17,390, nice. Special sounds downright inadequate.
Welcome back. When the Angels signed Rex Hudler in 1994, they knew they were getting a fiery player who was a bit off the wall. But what they didn't know is that 2 years later, the 35-year-old utility man would be playing like an all-star. Our Rick Weinberg tells why the Wonder Dog is suddenly hitting the cover off the ball and why those around the team are glad to see him getting his chance.
I think he's the type of person that this game needs more of, because it has to have people that love the game so much, and this guy loves it.
No one in the major leagues plays with the passion, fire, and enthusiasm of Rex Hudler. He plays the game with reckless abandon, yet brings a special joy and laughter to the game. Hudler is the epitome of a career journeyman, but at the age of 35, he's having the greatest season of his less than spectacular career.
The game of baseball has gotten into me. Having a good time. It's the same game I've been playing since I was 7 years old, and I feel quite honored to be able to play at this level.
Hudler has been released 4 times in his career and been traded twice. He was even forced to go play in Japan 3 years ago when no one in the majors wanted to sign him. The Angels are his 7th team in 11 years, and even they released him once.
I've always given the game 100%, and that's what I can look at myself in the mirror for, is I play hard because I'm just passing through and I'm going to be done someday.
The Hud Man has taken his utility role to a new level, adding power and consistency at the plate. But you can bet that Hudler will always keep his success in proper perspective.
You throw yourself a couple loafers out there and you are back at 9 on the pine, brother. Let me tell you, and it don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But if that 0 for 4, I can get a runner over, turn a double play for my pitcher, maybe make a key catch for him, and we win the game, man, I feel like I'm as successful as going 5 for 5.
Hudler's performance has been so spectacular and inspiring, it's prevented the media from zeroing in on the underachieving seasons of Tim Salmon, Gary DiSarcina, Chili Davis, and JT Snow. But for Hudler, it's just another opportunity for the KG veteran to fire up his club.
Baseball is a team game. If the Angels had Rex Hudler as their only team out there, they were in big, big trouble. Because the Hud Man cannot do it all. That's the fun of the game. If everybody was perfect, what game would be any fun?
The Hud Man, we love you. Thanks, Rick. Prime performance time, Bonds. Barry Bonds. Homerless since May 11th, not anymore. Uh-oh, 2-run shot. His first homer in 102 at-bats.
At the Southern California Special Olympic Summer Games.
Sells out up against the wall to make the grab. Ouch. He stayed in the game, though. In fact, he acted like the bump didn't really bother him. Watch him dive to beat the throw from Ray Ordonez on the David Bell's fielder's choice. Cards up 2-0. More good D from the Cards. Alan Bennis handles the comebacker the fancy way. That's behind the back and pretty nice, Alan. Then Bernard Gilkey grounds out to third. Jose Vizcaíno tries to score, but watch Tom Pagnozzi. He applies a sweet wraparound tag, and the Cards win this one 4-2. Brian Jordan, obviously feeling the pain a little later, left the game in the 5th with pain in his neck and back. And Dennis Eckersley struck out 2 in a 1-2-3 night to get his 9th save, and the first one since coming off the disabled list.
Usually your shortstop is your team leader. But in New York, both the Mets and Yankees have rookies playing short, but they're not playing like rookies. Ray Ordonez of the Mets and Derek Jeter of the Yankees have made quite an impression in their rookie seasons. Although they've taken different routes to the big leagues, they're now in the Big Apple together. And Rick Weinberg says this city is big enough for the two of them.
In the hustle and bustle of New York City, 2 shortstops have managed to break into the major leagues and capture the spotlight. 23-year-old Ray Ordonez of the Mets and 21-year-old Derek Jeter of the Yankees have taken the city by storm.
It is interesting that's such a key position when you think of Pee Wee Reese and you think of Phil Rizzuto and now Ordonez and Derek Jeter. It is unusual at the same time that you'd have 2 kids be offered a starting role on great, in the city of New York, on the Yankees and the Mets, which is pretty incredible, and both of them are doing very well.
Ordonez is considered by many scouts as the second coming of Ozzie Smith, and who better to judge than the Cardinals' defensive wizard himself.
There's been a lot of speculation about how good he was, and we heard from the minor leagues that he was the next Ozzie Smith, and I had a chance the early part of the season to see him play, and he's everything that they've said he is.
Me siento bien porque me están comparando con el mejor CEO que ha pasado.
He feels good about, you guys compare him with Ozzie Smith, but he's one of the best in the game. He don't think he's going to be as good as Ozzie.
It's really a thrill to play behind Ray Ordonez. He does some things that I've never seen done at the shortstop position. It's every day it's something new that he does. And opening day when he threw the ball on his knees, I got a ball down the line. I relayed it. I threw a bad throw. One hopped him, and he stayed on his knees and threw Royce Clayton out at the plate. That was totally amazing to me. I thought maybe I would get an error on the play. It turned out I got an assist and a put out.
Everyone's been raving about Ordonez's glove work, but his ability to hit has stunned people. And for a rookie from Cuba facing National League pitching for the first time, it's very impressive. Jeter, meanwhile, hasn't been as impressive as Ordonez, especially at the plate. But the makeup of this kid is something to behold, for he is destined for stardom.
Jeter has been terrific. He is playing better during the season than he was in spring training, which is pretty incredible for us, and we've needed him. He's been pretty durable, too.
people ask me to tell them about how I play, I'm not going to answer that question because, like I said, I don't rate myself. I don't judge myself. That's for you guys to do.
You know how New York is. They're going to build it up anyway, and it's going to compare the two. So I think it's going to be fun for the two young shortstops to go ahead and compete against each other in a sense, you know, even though they don't get to play against each other. But in a sense, I know that they want to be the best in New York.
Jeter is well aware of Ordonez, and he doesn't mind sharing the limelight.
It seems like everywhere I go, I get more questions about Ray than I do myself. But, I mean, I think it's good. I played against Ray in the minor leagues, and you know, getting a chance to play at the at the big league level is sort of a little competition between them.
Great young players, and certainly great for the Big Apple to watch these two guys go at it. We're not through with Mr. Weinberg. No, like Roy Jones Jr., Rick's also doing double duty tonight.
That's right. He's also a resident snoop, and he'll share all the dirt he dug up this week in the Press Box Insider coming up next.
For brilliant, deep, glowing color, get wet. To keep it wet, use Eagle One Wet Car Wash and Wipe and Shine.
House windows are easy to clean, but when it comes to your car, dirt, birds, bugs, and road grime can really muddy the...
Anywhere else. So without further ado, here's this week's edition of the Press Box Insider.
The Texas Rangers have been so impressive in building their lead in the AL West, Major League Scouts believe this will be the first team in club history that won't wilt in the scorching second-half heat in Texas. This will be the 10th time since 1976 that the Rangers will be in first or second place at the All-Star break, yet they have never won a division title. But scouts are saying that's going to change, that this team has the toughness, determination, and chemistry like no other Ranger team in history. Jose Canseco's career has been riddled with injuries, and if he makes it through this season, it has to be considered a minor miracle. The Red Sox power hitter has a ruptured disc in his back that was just recently diagnosed. He intends to suck it up and play the remainder of the season despite the serious discomfort. A courageous act for a player who hasn't often been considered a gamer. The Bobby Bonilla-Davey Johnson feud in Baltimore has ended, but Bonilla still wants out if he's restricted to DHing. So far, the Orioles have been turned down in every trade proposal for Bonilla. The latest to squash a deal is the Reds, who are unwilling to give up pitchers John Smiley or Pete Sherritt. The Phillies need a power hitter and are currently pondering a deal. Since they're elated with the progress of catcher Mike Lieberthal, they might be willing to give up Benito Santiago, whom the Orioles pursued over the winter. Kobe Bryant, the Philadelphia high school star heading to the NBA, is rapidly dropping deeper into the first round. But that's apparently fine with Bryant, who hopes to launch his career with the Lakers, Knicks, or Bulls, and all three happen to have late first-round picks. Bryant has already worked out for the Lakers, and he plans on visiting New York. He wants to play in a big market to capitalize on endorsement opportunities. But one Eastern Conference general manager says Bryant should be more concerned with developing his game, not his Q rating. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next time with the Press Box Insider.
All right, thanks very much, Rick. For today's prime performance, we take you back to Atlanta. 2 on, no outs in the first when Juan Castro makes the great over-the-shoulder grab on the Chipper Jones flare. That starts the 5-4-3 triple play. Look at Tommy. He loves it. Let's take one more look. It's the first triple play by the Dodgers since April 26, 1949, when Jackie Robinson and the Brooklyn Dodgers turned the trick. The LA Dodgers, they're prime.
Prime Performance is brought to you by...
Coming back to the Angels last July and once again struggling in the first inning.
16 innings, 4 hours, 41-minute marathon, and they go right back to work. Top of the first, Brady Anderson cranks it. Lead off, home run, 8th this year. 1-0. That's his 23rd homer of the year total. Bottom of the second, 2-1 for Mike McFarlane. He rockets what it's going to go off the wall. Jeffrey Hammond's having all kinds of... Watch Jeffrey. Jeffrey, whoa! 2-run score, McFarlane gets a triple. Top of the 6th, Tim Belcher pulled with the bases loaded and a 4-1 lead. And he's not too happy as Jason Hakami promptly gives up singles to Anderson, Louis Polonia, and Roberto Alomar drives in a run on this error for David Howard. Belcher The lead's gone.
He's saying,
yeah, he's not too happy about it. Things get worse for Casey in the 8th. Greg Zahn driving one deep right field off the wall. 2-run score. Zahn gets a triple. And later in the 8th, Anderson again. What? Cranked. It's a shot. He ripped it. They had a long rain delay. They finally got it in after about an hour-and-a-half rain delay in the 9th. Anderson, 3 for 5. 5 RBIs. His leadoff home run was the 8th, as I said, one short of Ricky Henderson's record of 9 set in '86 with the A's, and Alomar is 0 for 4 and now batting .384. And as you recall, during the offseason, the Orioles won the bidding battle for Roberto Alomar, and so far, they've not been disappointed. When the season began, Alomar was hitting in the 2nd spot. All he did was hit .360. Then Alomar was moved to the 3 spot, and he really took off. Rick Weinberg has the story of the new superstar in Baltimore.
Well, Robby's, playing at another level. He always had great talent. I think he's matured so much that he's using that talent and that mentality to another level. I mean, he's just probably the best player in baseball right now, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, I'm an old second baseman.
Robby Alomar may not have the sheer power of Frank Thomas or the electricity of Ken Griffey Jr., but he is still considered the best all-around player in baseball by most managers, GMs, and scouts. Alomar combines his hitting for average and power, dazzling defense, intelligent running, and overall knowledge of the game. The end result, Alomar is one of the game's most feared players and one of its greatest attractions.
I just continue to do my game. I'm not going to change my approach of the game. I just going out there, having a lot of fun, and I think I just want to come here and be with a team that have a chance to win another pennant.
Following 5 seasons in Toronto that included 2 World Championships, Alomar came to Baltimore, signing a 3-year, $18 million deal. Talk about a smooth transition. Alomar is flirting with the possibility of doing something no batter has done in 55 years, batting .400.
I'm not thinking about it. I don't thinking about it. I don't like to talk about it because if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. But hopefully I can stay away from injuries, and that's the main thing.
Alomar is just the kind of hitter who can bat .400. He's a brilliant contact hitter who doesn't overswing. He's fast enough to beat out infield hits and bunts, and he's patient enough to draw walks.
I don't want to put pressure on myself. It's not an easy thing to do. To hit .400, you have to get at least 2 hits every game, almost every game, or at least get 1 so your average stay up there. So it's gonna be tough, but it's not impossible.
Some may let their offense get in the way of their defense. Not Alomar. He has more range than any second baseman in the majors, and no one reads hitters better. And now he's playing with a guy named Cal.
It's more than I expected. He's an awesome player. He's a real smart player. And playing with him has made me a more smarter player. And, he's so talented, he's so good that I'm just having a lot of fun with him, and hopefully I continue to be that way.
All right, back to the National League, and nothing like some games with the Reds to liven up the Expos. Today they went for a 3-game sweep in Cincy and looking to make it 6 out of 7 against the Reds this season. With Atlanta's troubles against the Dodgers, Montreal sneaking up there in the East. Ex-boss Marge Schott dropping by 4 days after stepping aside, and she saw a whitewash. Roger Salt.
World Cup loss to Germany. Left foot into the corner of the net. England up 4-2. Then Miguel Angel Nadal. Next.
Buy from C&R. French designer dress shirts are only $15.99. You'd pay twice as much at department stores. And here's a special that will save you 70% compared to department stores. Designer silk ties are an incredible $9.99. At these prices, you'd better hurry.